Can you all hear me? Okay, great. Will somebody speak so I know that I can hear you? No.
Hello.
Got it. Hey, Journey.
Hi. Good morning, good afternoon, and good
I knew
night.
that. I know that Joni was going to be awake after the Tibetan rituals.
Yes.
Fabulous. Hi, Antonetta. Fireflies, note taker, Varun. Hello, Varun from Sweden. Joni, we met Varun in Dubai when you were here. He's in Sweden right now.
Oh, enjoy.
Okay, so let's begin. Okay. So I'm going to begin with this. Tonight at midnight is it's Janmashtami. It is the birth of Lord Krishna that many of us, revere, pray to, and all of us experience. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment, because I know that there are a few people who had very specific interest in this whole phenomenon of Lord Krishna. So I'll talk about that in a moment. What I want to do is to begin with the first question and then open it out to a few more questions. The first one was a question that was presented by Joyce from Australia, Sydney. It's a little bit late for her to join this session, so she'd sent her question. And I'm actually going to do a recording of that on my phone so I can send it to her very specifically. So her question was, how do we make authentic decisions? What's the process? Is there a process to know that, whatever we are deciding, there is authenticity, which is in line with our truth? So what I wanted to talk about there is, I think this is the case in most parts of the world, but certainly in the UK and Europe, this process exists. So if you were to go into emergency care or urgent care, because something has occurred, it begins with a triage. Like there's a 3-step thing before you actually go and see a consultant. If it is an absolute emergency, of course, you cut through all of that. The triage processes are still done and you see the consultant. So the first step to the process of making authentic decisions is the triage, is use your body as your barometer and really go into the yummy, yucky feeling. So the first step is I'm about to make a decision about this. These are the decision choices I'm about to make. And you literally allow to feel what your body responds or reacts to for each of those decision options. There'll be some where there might be a little bit of yuckiness, and there'll be others where it'll just feel completely smooth sailing. And there might be something that makes you feel like there's a reaction to your body. In either case, you start sifting, the options, the decision options. So that's the first thing, just the yummy, yucky test that you do. Now that you have your shortlisted decision options, you then go into which of these is yours to do. So with each one, you ask yourself, is this decision mine to make? Is this decision mine to enact? And where you get a very clear response, you take that forward. Where it may be a maybe, then pause. Don't take any action. Ask that of the next thing on your short list. So where the response that you receive from within yourself, it's like what I'm doing here is each week I'm training you to become more deeply connected to your own intuition. And sometimes it's hard to understand or decipher the words, but your body does give you a feel. Your body is a barometer that does give you a response. So even if you don't quite get the words, you will feel in your body that, yeah, it feels good. So once you know that, okay, yeah, this is a decision that is mine to take, it is the one that is mine to enact, now you can go into what it is that you're meant to do. And I always, when I'm actually taking something that is quite significantly important and has an impact on my life and that of others, before I take action, I allow myself to sit with what is the consequence of this action. And once you've got what the consequence is, that's when you decide whether you are going to choose that consequence. And if you're going to choose that consequence, then that is the choice you are making. And once you have declared that choice, like literally declare it aloud even, and then take the necessary action. If in fact you are not going to choose the consequence, declare that. And then you get clear about who are the people you need to communicate that to. And then you go ahead and be in communication with them. It sounds like a whole series of steps, but really, the importance of authenticity in your decision making literally is like parting of the waters. It is like, as Joni has often shared with me, hot knife through butter experience. So it's totally worthwhile. Step one, the triage, yummy yucky test in the context of the decision itself. Then you're going to, in the context of the different options that you're deciding between. The ones that are shortlisted, the ones that have the nice, yummy, smooth sailing feeling, that's where you go into what is mine to do there. And then you choose the ones which are yours to do. Consider the action that you're going to take. Before you take the action, ask the question, what is the consequence if I take this action or if I take this approach? And then decide, am I going to choose that consequence? And if I am going to choose that consequence, go ahead, take the action. And then progress with acting out the decision. So that's what I want to share in context of making authentic decisions. Now I'm ready to move to the next question. Now, Meenaji, I know you had shared a number of questions with me before. Would you like to ask any of them, or would you like me to ask?
Through break, and in my mind I was saying, what is mine to do, what is not mine to do, and when I logged, this is what you were saying. So synchronicity and answers given by universe.
Great.
Sentences 5 times came into my mind, and I joined, and all I wanted to say this. Thank you.
Okay, so Gail is saying the volume is very low. Is it very low for everyone, or is it only for Gail? Is it okay? Is the volume okay for most people?
It is low.
It is low. Okay. It is very high on my computer.
For me, everything is fine.
It is
quite
better now.
loud.
It is better.
For me, it is quite loud.
Okay. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about Janmashtami. Today at midnight is the birth of Lord Krishna. That's what we celebrate. Um, and in my first 3 years of my life, in fact, first 5 years of my life, I spent a lot of time in Mathura and Vrindavan. Mathura is the place which is actually the birthplace of Lord Krishna, and he spent his early years in a place called Vrindavan. So my grandparents lived there. And some of you who might have read my B book know that I had this hobby that I developed at a very, very, very young age, um, of exploring underground passages in old temples and old palaces. Um, I think I was about 6 when I first forayed into finding the underground passages in the birthplace of, it's called Janam Bhumi, which is at the actual place where Krishna was born. He was born in a jail, actually. His mother and father were in the jail, and that is where the birth took place. And then his father carried him across the river to Vrindavan to be brought up because there was a serious threat to his life from his maternal uncle who had received an oracle's prediction that this child was actually going to kill him, and that he was going to bring peace, trust, and compassion into the rule of this particular kingdom. So the interesting thing for me is I was always curious about Krishna. There are lots of stories about him. And because I experienced this going into the underground passages and then walking across, and Mathura was actually, there were a lot of dead-end passages. So I had to always come back where I began. Vrindavan, on the other hand, was quite magical. I mean, you had underground passages in the palaces, and I would find them, and there was such advancement in how those passages and tunnels were created that several times I have gone through a passage and it has gone under the bed of the river Yamuna, and I've come out the other side into the fields. And as a child, I felt quite fearless, and I'd sort of developed my own strategy of how to go across. The key thing that I have learned from the time, so at that time it was an adventure. It was something to go back from my vacations and write in my essay about what did I do this summer type thing. I didn't make it mean anything beyond that. I didn't share a lot of the exploring I did. I'm sure my parents would be quite terrified if they knew the details of it. And it was only in one of the essays that I won a prize that my mom read the essay. It's like, my God, this is crazy stuff that you did. Promise me you'll never do it again. Of course I was going to do it again and again and again because it was so thrilling. Fast forward, many years later, I became very engaged in full spectrum living. And in that, the space that really caught my attention was I was looking at who is a role model, who really engaged with full spectrum living or dead. I couldn't find anyone that was in a living state that I could say, yeah, they really do thrive on all cylinders, physical, mental, emotional, so spiritual, social, and environmental. What I did come across was there are different stories that we Indians are told about the fables of Krishna. The Krishna Leelas, they are called. How he came in to save his friends, or he came in to save his villages, and all that kind of stuff. And Gita, the theory of karma, also came from a narration from Lord Krishna during a particular significant epic war construct. What I found was that the role model for me of someone who truly lived an extraordinary life and was thriving on all cylinders was Lord Krishna. Because one of the things that he did, he became my teacher of understanding what the environment actually really means, at the nuances of an environment. Environment outside is only a reflection of what is the environment inside. And I saw that every story that was narrated as a child, he always went with the environment. He did not contradict what was true to the nature of the time or true to the nature of what was actually going on. He literally took what was there, what was present, what is exactly as is, and worked with that, using the power of nature itself to transform the situation that was occurring. And I saw that in story after story after story after story. Someone who was an ascended master even before he descended, even in his descended form, he did not utilize his powers to turn around something that was not in its truth. So what I learned from him is this planet is a playground of relationships and relating. And it is about honoring and living our truth. And at the moment we do that, we actually create permission for everyone else to do the same, not just humans, but also other living things. We only become devouring of nature when we lose that connection to our own truth. It feels like such a big thing. Wow, how are we going to live our truth all the time? Well, you know, really the first yummy yucky test tells you it feels yummy when you are in your truth, and it feels yucky when you're not. It's up to you to start capturing those moments of yumminess, so that next time you feel yucky, you can always go into those moments of yumminess. Even when you acknowledge the truth of the environment outside of you, you actually start connecting to the truth within you. And we've all experienced it 100%. You know, when you see the rain coming down and how it, you know, lands on the leaves, or suddenly the trees that were dry suddenly feel very, 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 you know, nourished and nurtured. We can't but help say, wow. We can't but help acknowledge their truth. And we feel good, right? So in answer to how do we live our truth? How do we be in our truth all the time? Well, get that feeling, get that remembrance back by acknowledging it when you find it outside of you. And environment is your access point. Many of you here, you've heard me say during the corona lockdowns and all of that, you know, I called it the crown phenomenon. It is the phenomenon that opens up our crown. It gets humans to really relax and release the attitude of blame outside, to actually go within and allow ourselves to observe nature. And hence we had multitude of, you know, witnessing of rainbows and a whole variety of phenomenal cloud formations and all light formations, and animals that were deemed to be extinct all emerge. You know, and the more we saw all of that, the more we reconnected to our truth. So as we now start to emerge out, go with the flow in your truth is the message of Lord Krishna. This year is the year of rejoicing. It is the year which is the year that sets the trend of waves that you're going to ride. You know, so use the time this year, this celebration of Lord Krishna's birthday, as a celebration of you finding your flow and experiencing the rhythm that emerges as you step into your flow. So with that having been, I mean, the other thing that I experienced when I had my series of spiritual awakenings, this whole piece about, we are born with choice and we are always choosing. Before you take action, consider the consequence and choose the consequence of your choices and then take action. My God, just that one thing transformed every area of my life. And where did I get this from? I got it from a particular temple, very powerful temple, apparently. It's called Bake Bihari, which is a particular form of depicting Krishna. The stone with which this statue has been carved is, it's one of those stones that really takes away negativity. So it's a very strong impact. And it is always covered in a curtain, and the priest draws the curtain only for a few seconds, and people just get completely mesmerized, and then he closes it again. I didn't realize that my grandfather, that the Ayurvedic doctor, was one of the 5 original trustees that made it possible for this temple to actually get restored and resurrected in its glory. So when we arrived there, me and my aunt, she was immediately recognized, and we got a chance to go into the VIP area, which also had, I would say, several hundred people there. And when the curtain was drawn, I sort of connected with the Bake Bihari. His eyes are very large and quite piercing. In a positive way, I connected, and I received this download of this message about, you're born with choice. Before you take action, understand the consequence, and then choose the consequence, and then take action, knowing what the consequence is. Half the time people just say, I choose, I make my choice. Then they don't take into account what the consequence is. And as a result, consequence has an impact on so many people, but nobody really is either aware of it, or a whole host of meaning-related brawls or fightings take place as a result of the consequence of the choices that are made. So it was like, okay, if there's one thing that you can do that can transform the way humans relate and transform relating, it's going to be get this message out. Before taking action, choose the consequence, declare the consequence, and choose that you are choosing that consequence, and then take action. Now I'm receiving this message. I can completely see how it's transforming my life. I can feel what I'm to do to get this message out there. And literally, we were like many layers back at the back in the VIP circle. And we didn't realize, it's as if literally parting of the waters had taken place, and we were right there in front of the statue. And the priest had forgotten to draw the curtains. So my aunt was saying she's been coming there for nearly 40 years, never experienced anything like this, ever. It was very powerful experience, and this was the message. And that powerful experience really was an indication of, the power of being consciously aware of the consequence of your choices before you take action. There is great power in you declaring the action that you're about to take, in declaring the consequence that you're about to choose, and before you take action. That in itself gets your mind completely engaged, and it connects you to your heart, which is your presence in the now. And then you move forward, taking action, opening your connection to your gut, which informs you continuously, powers you with your own inner wisdom. So with that, let's all celebrate as we come up to midnight in our own parts of the world, the amazing gift that we've all experienced on this planet of this ascended master descending to bless us all in this way. I am open to the next question. Okay. Anybody want to ask the question? You will need to unmute yourself in case you are speaking. Meenaji, do you want to ask the questions you've sent me?
Yes. No, different one.
I think
Okay.
Gail want to ask a question.
Okay. Well, okay, Meenaji, come in first, and then we'll go to Gail.
My question is, just now you said, ending master to descend to, so good.
Meenaji, if you come on video, then we can get you. Yeah. Okay, go for it.
Sorry, is it clear now?
Yeah, go for it again. We couldn't hear you.
My question is to do the good in humanity, even spiritual powers, gods, they have to come in human form. Like we read in our religious book, Krishna, Ram, Jesus, Allah, and many other masters, spiritual masters. So human body, human vessel is needed even for the spiritual people to come and show in the form other than different dimensions. That's my question.
Yeah, the human form is a vessel of fulfillment of the divine plan. So, and how amazing, you've heard me say this, that the innate vibration of the human form is the vibration of love, which is an amplifying frequency. So, we are the one that we've been waiting for. We are the one that the divine has been waiting for, because without us, the divine can't express itself in terms of human attitude. I mean, the other living beings, when you are in your truth, you are in your truth, and then when some things need to be shifted, then there is a need for a human intervention, and that occurs through us. So recognizing the power of this human form in its innate vibration of love, knowing that it is an amplifying frequency, it's important for us to know that whatever it is that we are vibrating or feeling at any particular point in time, we naturally have amplifying abilities. All of us, not just me, not just another living spiritual teacher or a master. All of us have it. All of us have it. And as long as you have the human form, you are connected to it. And we notice it when we feel bad or upset, it gets amplified really fast. The same thing is possible when you feel good. So I don't want to get very esoteric in this response, Meenaji. This is what I feel would serve most people in terms of what I've responded right now. I think there's some issue with your internet connection, but I expect you received it. Okay, Gail. You can put your question on the chats. You can also raise your hand. Okay, Gail.
Okay, a couple of things. Hi, Mynoo. Hi, everybody. I made the decision once I lost the work I was doing pre-COVID, and that was even, before I got COVID. I have not looked back, and I am happy about that. I think it was one of the best decisions I've made. Having said that, there are consequences, and I have to, and I'm trying to understand. I knew I was
Hmm.
taking a chance, but I also felt like I had no other choice, because for me to really be happy, be in flow, is to be doing music, because it's been my greatest love my whole life. And I do believe that I have the talent and everything else. Um, the problem is that I keep having, like, my teaching door keeps go opening and shutting, opening and shutting. I had a 14-year-old, for the first time, 14-year-old Filipino student who I adored. I still adore her. And her mom, and she was taking the equivalent of 3 lessons a week. And all of a sudden, sorry, she's doing this, da da da. We have to stop. And it was right just when I had really gotten what was going on with her, how we could correct it. She wants to audition. We finally picked out just when the momentum started to happen. Then I have another student, same thing. Her father, she's in her 20s. She's my R&B gal, but this affects me. This affects my income. This affects everything. And so just when I think, oh wow, I got it down, I got it. We're in control. We're good. I feel like I'm being thwarted. I don't want to take it personally, and I don't want to believe that I'm causing this, because I know we attract. So that's been a huge issue for me. I mean, I'm resolved to do this, and to do music. Another thing, the gut health, I have to probably do this series. I only did like 1 or 2. I am having issues in my gut, and something that I
So
never
Gail, Gail, just pause. Let me
told.
answer the first. Let me answer the first one, okay, and then we'll go into the gut series and other stuff.
Okay, great.
So the like I've said, the universe plugs in to whatever it is that we are vibrating, and it multiplies that. How does the universe plug in to what we are vibrating? It actually is in tune and in rhythm with our senses, with our sensory organs. Okay, so I am sensing when I say, okay, I'm Gail's universe. What am I sensing? In the context of students, I'm sensing an undertone of worry. Right? It's not explicit at all. It's just like really, really undertone that, oh, I hope this one lasts. Or there's some undertone, okay? And really the universe senses that. And internally, because that worry, you've actually really worked it. So you don't let it come into your conscious awareness. But at a subconscious level, because your undertone is still there, your subconscious is working really hard, and there is a purity in the actions taken by your subconscious level, because it's not encumbered by your thoughts at all. So the logical question is, so how do you deal with a situation like this when you aren't even aware that there is an undertone, right? I mean, you can say, well, I can't tune in like you, Mynoo. How do I know that there is an undertone, right? So you don't need a Mynoo to tell you this. You know that there is an undertone because that's what you are experiencing, right? So you've heard me say this before, that whatever we are resolved about is what we are experiencing.
Okay.
So the fact that you're experiencing this, where clearly we've had a breakthrough in the flow of students, right? You so want to teach, and you had you had a breakthrough, not just in the flow of students, but also in the quality of students. Yes. That actually give you that sense of accomplishment. So there's a lot that is going there, and yet there is this dropping that takes place, which is a sudden dropping. Right? There isn't a natural churn, there is a sudden drop, right? And that is what you're concerned about. Okay, so the way, how do you deal with this is the question. Okay, I suggest you get the universe to support you to deal with it. Now, how do you get the universe to support you to deal with it? use, do you have the B book, Gail?
That's by it.
You do?
Oh, I'm going to.
Okay, so in the B book, there is a chapter called the B tools. And in the B tools, there's a way in which you place orders with the universe, which I have also taught those who have done the journey into miracles. But this one takes you step by step. So now what you're going to do is if you can get the universe to take care of this undertone, releasing this undertone once and for all, right? That would be brilliant, because it's done its job. When I know you did the order to the universe in the context of becoming a teacher, becoming an online teacher, and offline both, and having a quality, and it's delivered. You haven't applied it to this particular piece. Apply it to this particular piece. Now there is something else though, Gail, that is going on, which is you are to show up more as a performer yourself, right?
Wow.
So it's important for you to segment that time where you are showing up as a performer.
I haven't been doing that. That's the one thing I definitely have not been doing. And I do miss. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, I wonder sometimes if the universe is saying, no, it's great that you're teaching, but that's not what you're really meant to do. You're really meant to perform. I mean, I don't know. That's because that has
No,
occurred to me.
it's a combination of both, because through your teachings, you're actually creating a bunch of amazing artists.
Right.
And you're doing that, and it is very fulfilling. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. So when you show up as an accomplished singer. Whether you get paid for it or not, there is a vibe of accomplishment that is anchored. And that is what multiplies in terms of the resources that get magnetized to you.
So when you say show up as a performer, meaning do my work, meaning learn the songs, record the songs I'm supposed to record.
Yeah. And share them. Yeah. Put it out there. You're ready for some shows. You're amazing.
Well, I don't feel that I have enough of a repertoire, but I probably do.
Well, there's a question that was asked, which was about, like I talk about, share your gifts, and everybody has gifts, but why don't people share them? And the reason why they don't share them is because they don't recognize their own gifts as gifts. It hasn't been, so, really take your time. And once you get into the groove of it, it will be really fast. And I want to say to everyone here, I'm talking to Gail here, but really the fact that this dialogue is happening in your field, in your presence, there is a nugget or an insight for you to act on. So you begin by, identifying what are your gifts. And often there's a clue in some compliments you might have received. So identify those and then acknowledge what has what has become available, what has become possible when you have applied these gifts. Now what you're doing is you are consciously identifying it, and you are acknowledging it, and you are anchoring it in a real life incident that you have gone back and found. So now your mind is with you. It's like, that little voice in your head shuts up because it knows it's real, right? And in the past, it's happened with all of us. We go in thinking, wow, we're going to do a great job. And the little voice goes, really, you've never done this before. By going about it like this, you have actually identified it. The mind and thought combination requires a bit of logic and conclusion, like a theorem in a geometry. So you identified it, you've acknowledged it by actually linking it to real incidents where that gift was truly a gift. Now you can actually look forward and say, okay, these are the challenges I'm experiencing. Now if I was to apply this gift, and with that gift, by sharing that gift, I address this challenge, what would that look like? What could be possible? Now your little voice isn't screaming. It's actually literally egging you on. Go for it, because it knows you can.
Wow. By sharing these gifts, I'm writing everything down. By sharing these gifts,
Yeah.
what was
Yeah, by sharing these gifts, how what would occur? How would I handle this challenge by sharing these gifts?
would I handle these challenges?
Okay, and as you're in that inquiry, Gail, you go into, okay, so with this understanding now, what is my logical next step?
Wow.
And then within 10 to 20 minutes, you take that step. Your bandwagon of gift sharing has begun rolling. And the universe goes, she likes sharing her gift. Let's multiply that. Let's take her to places where that gift will get multiplied. That's what happens.
Love that. Woo. That was big, Mynoo. That was really big. Really, that went right to my gut, heart, my everything. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. The only thing I haven't shared with you is that I've suffered with psoriasis for a very long time. And I am using ironically, I got paid to use an Ayurvedic lotion. But if you have any spiritual insight, which I'm sure you do, about psoriasis, which I've never mentioned, and I don't think it's ever been mentioned on any of our meditations or
Yes.
anything. Oh yeah.
So I talk about every physical ailment is rooted in an emotional distress. Okay.
Right.
So psoriasis, the emotional distress that psoriasis is anchored on is it's a rebellion against punishment.
What? What? Okay, I've never heard that, but I'm writing it down.
So
Rebellion.
it's like you're experiencing being punished for something and you're rebelling against it. It's quite emotionally distressing when you're going through that process. That weakens your system, and psoriasis, it becomes open to psoriasis.
I only have it on my legs and a little bit on my arms. It's just really mostly on my legs, my thighs,
Yeah.
and but that's one of my pride and joy. I mean, that's where I show off my legs because I have nice legs. So it's ironic, and especially during the summer, I'm like, what is going on here? I have to wear stockings, and it's
Yeah.
hard. So what do I
Yeah.
do so what do I do about this?
So it's time to really remove this emotional distress from your system. It affects the flow system. So basically, use the power tool of acknowledgement. That is the fastest way of dealing with emotional distress. Really, stand in your source mastery. You have that, and you're going to identify incidents. You're only identifying them with the context that in you acknowledging that they occurred, you're giving yourselves permission to release them. So that
Acknowledging.
yeah, by acknowledging these incidents where you were being punished and you were using all your might to rebel against that punishment, and it felt distressing, the way when I do this kind of acknowledgement stuff to get to unconditional acceptance of all that is, I just always go, the last 10 years, is there an incident like this? It last 20 years, is there an incident? I go all the way until as far back as I can remember. And once I've acknowledged it all, is there anything that remains to be acknowledged from all of this stuff that has been unearthed? Half the time, there is stuff that is so deep that I just, didn't even realize it was still hanging in there. And all there is to do is unconditionally accept what is. And then I stand up. I do a change of state. I stand up and take a step forward and I say, okay, now what is mine to do? I usually go into an envisioning with something like what you're talking about. It would be like, okay, what would it look like? I am free. I don't have to rebel. I just have to show up in my regalia. What does that look like? How do I look? What do I say? You know, how do I feel? And others that are looking at me, you know, what are they seeing? And, you know, how are they looking? And what are they saying? What are they feeling? I anchor that envisioning of emotional unleashment. That gets your physical cells to recalibrate.
Mynoo, when you say punished, I want to just clarify. You know, I grew up being kind of being abused by my dad, and
Yeah,
so
it would include incidents there.
so all the okay, because
Especially
that's
those, you know, sometimes you're being told off and you did do something wrong, and other times you are being told off and that lands as abuse because you actually didn't do anything wrong. It's an abuse. So and then, you know, if you found yourself in that state really wanting to rebel and you know, do your own thing, that's worthy of acknowledgement in this context.
that's been my whole life, truthfully, of wanting to just do music and being told you should be able to
Yeah.
support anything else, but because I didn't practice enough, I didn't do this enough, I blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah. And on the gut health, Gail, I want to talk to a few other people. I suggest just do the entire program.
2 days, but you have to do whatever. Can I do it, like, for instance, so I'm doing Beyond Meditation with you today. Can I do the gut health meditation afterwards?
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Okay. I know, Joni, I can see you having your hand up. So, Joni, come on in.
My hand is also up, Asha.
Okay. Yes, Asha ji, after Joni.
Yeah, sure.
No, wrong one.
You know who is going to the next?
Hi, Joni. Unmute yourself, Joni. Unmute.
Yes, good. Thank you. I just wanted to support Gail in this wonderful process you're just and sharing with her, because as soon as you were giving her this information, be yourself, be the performer, you should have seen, Gail, you lit up like the big aha. I mean, he talks about it, writes about too. It was there you were, the child, the everything, just in all her purity and joy, experiencing that revelation that you can be you. Yes, all those hidden dreams and desires of the talents that you have that you want to share. And so I just wanted to really, really support that. I saw your reaction, and to just always get up every morning and always think of you as the performer, sharing your gifts of performance. And I had just shared something I was doing with my DNA branding. Your DNA is that brand. Think of it as your soul journey, your DNA. Everything is that. Just let it all sparkle out in everything you do. Never. So as you're doing everything else, but you're doing that first. You're that. You're the talent, in the room sharing, whether you're teaching or performing or whatever comes from what you want to do from this. So I just wanted to support you in that. And it was so wonderful to see that reaction, because you lit up like the big aha, like you were in it. you were just in it for that moment. So remember that moment, right, Mynoo?
Yes, thank you, Joni, for noticing and sharing. Thank you.
One other thing I wanted to mention from what you were talking about with the being in the joy and the flow was, when I was raised in the Christian church, when I first heard your body is a temple of God, that just boom went off for me. That whole thing just went boom. Your body's the temple of God. Your soul is part of God. Boom. To feel that is kind of what you were talking about. And I just wanted to share that with anybody, because when you feel that, think that, it just changes everything into a big aha and joy and flow and all of the above. It's a little tool for
Thank you, Joni.
a hot knife and butter. It's a hot knife and butter.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, Asha ji, yes. Yes, Asha ji. Unmute.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. The question was, when I was thinking of settlement, you know the story, and somehow one of the person found out some issues. Okay, this is not correct. This is not correct. So I told that person that you just read again, and wherever you find some problem, you write down. Okay, this is what you want to change. And when this discussion was going on, I was very calm and quiet. I was just waiting. This is what the universe wants. So let it be like that. And I didn't share with the other person, because I thought if I tell little bit also before that, this second person writes down, then unnecessarily the other person will start thinking of so many things. So that when this thought came not to tell, I just acknowledged it, and I was grateful to God for giving me this thought. Now, when you were discussing just now, I opened my B book and I took out the B tools, page 169. I will just want to read. So here I'm the fear that what this person will write down now. And is it going to be a fight again? Slowly everything was settling down and somehow some issues have come up. So because dissatisfaction has no boundary. Once you are dissatisfied, something keeps on coming. You don't let go. It's okay. Whatever is there is fine. That I can't give that thought to this person. It should come within himself only. So when I opened I had read it long back, so I'll read it again. But what you were talking to Gail, it really appealed to me. So here I need your guidance for this. What do you feel? How do I? Because I'm just waiting for that person to go through everything. By weekend, he's going to tell me or he's going to write down. And then I'll show it to the first person. No?
Yes, yes. So your question is how you respond to the fact that this is occurring, right? In such a way
I have
that
a fear. I fear in my heart of the fight.
Yes, yes. So how do you actually rise above that fear or dissolve that fear?
Right. Yeah.
Right? So, okay. So the first thing, and you know, you're talking about a particular settlement, and this sort of settlement and agreement and disagreement happens in all areas of life, right? And fear comes in, right? So here's the thing to remember always, right? When there is an agreement and there is a discord, or there is a the people aren't completely agreeing, and you are like the middle person here, orchestrating the two parties to come together. And you know, okay, the agreement is by its very nature going to have points that people will disagree, and it is all, and every agreement is designed so that when there are points of disagreement, how to deal with it. Otherwise, there is no need for an agreement, right? So it already has a vibe that is stationed in disagreements. It's full of points of disagreement, right? So already the vibe is like a little bit it's a bit of a conflict type vibe that is there. However, we live in the world that we live in where agreements are necessary at this point in time. The thing to remember, when you are the person that is facilitating this agreement to come about, whatever you feel as a vibration, whatever you feel as a vibration and whatever you direct it to, you're literally anchoring that vibration there. So for example, having the fear about what is this person now going to write, we thought we were nearly there. By you bringing in that, even if it is an undertone of fear, it's like you're putting the fear into his field.
Oh,
So now
okay.
what he's going to write is going to come from a vibration of fear,
Oh,
as opposed to a vibration of matter of fact, certain decisions need to be, certain points of contention have to be addressed. But when points of contention that have to be addressed in an agreement is foundationed on fear, it carries the energy of conflict. Now, this person probably never had the fear. He just had certain points of contention. But by you thinking fear, and you're like the centerpiece here, you're putting fear into the field of this person, right? So,
yeah.
okay, now that you understand this,
Yes.
the way to deal with it is, you have done the journey into miracles, Ashaji. So,
Yeah.
we talked about fear as a sergeant major that supports us,
Right.
right? So if
Yeah.
you don't recall it, I will make sure that Anushri sends you, when you feel fear, what is it reminding you of, so that you can presence that very powerful forward propelling energy of fear, and you can release the negative tone of fear. Okay, so you work with that. For everyone that is listening, the key thing to remember, when you're thinking about someone else or about an agreement or about a contract or whatever it may be, if you've got a vibration of worry or anxiety, you're putting it there. And then that person has to, it becomes a part, they don't even know what it is. It just becomes a part of how they are making their choices and decisions.
Right.
And, so it's really important to recognize. So thank you for asking the question and recognizing it.
Yeah. One more thing, but so that means I have to remove my fear. But what I do, I just keep on telling myself, okay, whatever God will do, He will be in my favor. Whatever the decision is there, it's in my favor. That thought also comes, and the fear is also there. Both the things are there.
Yeah. So basically, if you look at the order to the universe, you can say to the universe, hey, remove this fear as a negative thing from my field.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Because this conflict creates confusion. The universe then doesn't know what is more important, but sensing wise,
right.
That's why the universe doesn't plug into our thought. It plugs into our sensory organs.
Right.
Right. It senses, where is the strength? Correct. And it goes and multiplies that.
Right. Yeah. So I'll read this B tool. One more thing. Since 15 days, suddenly, all of a sudden, when I got up in the morning, my eyes were absolutely red, right eye, totally red. And the BP was high, but immediately it came normal. I forgot to take medicine, so it became normal. But the eyes are still red. I am under medication. Doctor has seen it little better, but still the redness on right. When you were talking to Gail, I thought, let me ask this question. I wouldn't have asked. There has to be some emotional disturbance, which I don't know.
I mean, it really, eyes is actually quite straightforward. It really is, you're seeing something that you don't want to see.
Okay.
So it's like when you get into an okay, what are the things that I've seen over the last 10 years or the last 20 years that I didn't want to see? Or you just acknowledge all of that, unconditional acceptance of what is, allow your eyes to really recuperate themselves by themselves. They will get their strength back.
Okay, thank you. I'll do it, and next Thursday I'll let you know.
Yeah. Yes, okay.
Both the points I'll let you know next Thursday.
Yes.
I keep the B book on my table only, just in front of me, whenever I need it.
Great.
Thank you. And Sarika has written a question. So
Yes.
let me know.
Okay, Justin, we'll come to you. Then there is Parul and there is Sarika. Okay, come on, Justin.
Great, thank you. I had a really wild dream last night, which is a type of dream that comes up a lot, which is like military type of struggle. But last night it felt like it was like universal battle happening or something like that, or universal conflict, like multi-dimensional thing happening. It's very strange. I tried to, as I came, fully awake, and before going back to sleep, I really put in intentions to clear and tap into support and guidance to clear whatever it was I was part of or that was a part of me. I'm just curious what might be coming up around that.
So I'm only pausing because there is some stuff going on, yes, intergalactically and in the multiverse. Just looking at what is it that I respond that will make sense to most people. So the first thing is to really understand your own role, why you saw a dream like this, right? You probably known this. You were one of those very early, what I call as indigo children, that came in to warrior through systems and structures, which also happens to be your innate vibe, to battle through systems and structures that don't serve humanity, like literally as a warrior, right? It's to pave the way for the whole new generations of children that were going to come into this planet, preparing it for the era that we are, going into right now. So that there are so many other enlightened beings that have been birthed since then, that that level of battling that you've had to endure in the earlier part of your life, you don't have to endure that anymore. Your dreams enable you to do the work that is required at a planetary level, because there are others that are anchoring the new way. Okay, so sometimes the dreams are just an enactment, energetic enactment of what you are meant to cause and open up. And this was one such dream that took place. I mean, it could have happened during the time that the pipeline was on, and that would have been quite tumultuous for the planet per se, because not only you, there would be others like you who also would be dreaming this way. Now, for those of you who can't quite get what I'm talking about, just on you get what I'm talking about, and that's all that matters right now. Okay, you'll need to unmute because I had muted you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I can now see where the systems and structures as your innate vibe comes in as well. And some of the struggles, yeah, very fascinating.
Well, it's like just the it's like just cracking the surface. It like I don't know that my mind understands it fully, although my feeling body like gets it completely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Justin. Sarika.
Thank you.
I think Mynoo, it was Parul. I just
Okay, Parul. Yes, Parul, come on. You've written your question, and it would be great for you to be here with me asking it.
Namaste.
Yes.
Okay, so, well, the question, I think I'll rephrase the question that there is so much happening that one moment you feel that, things are kind of falling in place and, going towards a larger cause, a better, thing for everybody around. And the next moment, it just all feels like crumbling down and shattering. So I really don't know what to make of it, how to kind of sustain this. because it's too much of a,
Hmm.
the frequency is too much of a fluctuation, basically. I
Yes.
really don't.
So it's almost like, polarity is massive on the one hand, and then on the other, almost these things happening very close together. Whereas before, they never happened so close together. It was happening even then. So your question is, what do you make of it, or how do you address what can you do to deal with these extreme polarities?
Yeah, I mean, how do I deal with this extreme polarities? Plus, the when it's on the healthier side, it's really, I feel, not only for me, but it's really for a larger cause. Things are really going in a very beautiful direction. So I feel I don't want to. I mean, how do I keep that going, basically?
Hmm. Hmm. Um, so first of all, it's the best thing to do to begin with is always acknowledge the fullness of what you're experiencing. Okay, sometimes when we go from a super high to a shocking low in a matter of in a very short space of time, we forget the super high and we get very engrossed in dealing with whatever has caused the super low. And or we just put our blinkers on and we stay with how things were before. The way to address it at this point in time, and Parul, it was different. The times are changing. They are changing very, very rapidly right now. And they will continue. This will continue, certainly until 2026. This sort of experience will continue. Where we can find certainty is where we are. The certainty will be within ourselves. And that's why everything that I do and I talk about, I bring it back to you, to you, to you. If you can find your center within yourself, your world will transform to match you. Okay. Now, how do you deal with it when you can see something is turning out in a way that contradicts all this amazing stuff that you are also part of, that is making a difference in the world? It's the same person, same level of energy, and you're faced with these two situations. um, so the first thing is the using the power tool of acknowledgement for positive and negative is what is going to support you. So to begin here, what you do is you begin with all the positives that have ever occurred right now, 5 days ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Really, really get to engage with all these amazing positive things that have ever occurred in your life, how they made you feel, where in your body did you feel it, just like really, really reawakening. It's as if you are speaking to your cells, and cell by cell, you're awakening yourself with that very real memory that has actually taken place. Okay, so now what happens is you are literally changing the composition, the vibrational composition of your cells. And by bringing your mind along, in my world, you always take your mind along. By bringing your mind along, you're focusing your thoughts on something that actually occurred when this positive incident took place, right? So you will start experiencing such an abundance of positive experiences. I never ask people to do positive incantation. I always say, look at real incidents. We don't need to brainwash ourselves about anything. And you can, that's okay too. But actually anchoring it with real incidents, real memories, really looking at where in your body you felt it. What effect did it have on the people that were with you? How were you interacting with them? You're really bringing that aliveness, remembrance back to yourselves. Okay. Now, certain things haven't happened in the way you expected. People reacted, people changed, and environments shifted, and all this progress that was made, in some areas went a little bit pear-shaped. Okay, take each one of those and acknowledge exactly where you felt what. But by the time you get to that, it's as if you are literally wiping out. Because when you fill something up with light, there's darkness when something collapses or doesn't go the way you want, and you're filling it up with light by acknowledging all the different facets of positivity that has taken place. That light is already, the darkness is already risen to the surface. By actually then going into and acknowledging the darkness, you're able to just wipe it off. Now, what has happened here is by acknowledging it, you are not making it your reality. It just becomes an incident that has taken place, right? So as a result, your vibrational equation remains high. So the universe multiplies that. Right now, there's a part of you that has that undercurrent of, this is really good that's happening, and it could change. Well, it changes, so what? It's okay. But right now, to think that it's difficult, and that's why I'm asking you to do this process, because then it'll change, it's okay, because you remain where you are in your highest vibe. But without doing this process, your mind doesn't come along, Parul, and it becomes a big disruptor, and the universe multiplies. Whatever it is that we are vibrating, if it is conflicted, it multiplies that.
So I mean, basically the conflict also is that whether it is high time to give up on, so many things of trying over the years, or still to kind of, hold on and
Yes.
look towards.
So, the first question that I answered, which was about how do I make authentic decisions? It was actually from someone in Australia who is in a similar situation to where you are at, where it is time for her to stop certain things and actually step away from certain situations and introduce certain other approaches. And then all of that requires communicating, because she is a business owner, she's got clients, she's got staff, a whole host of things, so use that process, Parul, that yummy again, you will then be left with the one or two things that really are yours to move forward in a very powerful way. Then the others that you are going to complete on, rather than stopping, complete, have a completion conversation with yourself, with whoever else is involved, so that you can move forward without carrying any baggage or burden. It is time to make decisions. Like this year is all about waves after waves, and it starts the trend of waves. Next year is a whole new year altogether. I'll be talking about the energies of next year from towards the end of September onwards, but I already see it. So let's get our act together in getting that lightness of being, so we can be surfing these waves and moving what we are here to do and cause, utilizing the power of these waves. So certain choices and decisions are best made this year.
I have put 2 questions on chat.
Yes, okay, I'm just looking at that. With regards to the eyes, Ashaji, with regards to the eyes, my response to you was more about dealing with the weakness in some of the capillaries in the eyes, right? So this particular redness will repair itself, but for future, it's important to strengthen your capillaries. And eyes get impacted when you're seeing stuff that you don't want to see, but you're not really expressing that. You're holding back, right? So all you ought to do is really acknowledge whatever it is that you feel you might have seen that you didn't want to see. Acknowledge it. Acknowledge its energetic presence in your field, and unconditionally accept what is.
Okay.
Okay, that starts to release the load on your eyes, on this entire optical cavity and all the different tissues and cells that make it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Last Thursday about, yes.
Hi. You had said last week or so that you had received some information for us. So I was thinking.
Yes.
Maybe you could tell us.
So both of you have been living the calling of your soul. Both of you have been working on this together now for a few decades. And you have been received in that way by everyone. The message that I got for you was that from time to time, it is important for those of us who are living the calling of our soul to tune ourselves up, right? So when you look at a car and the car has to go for a tune-up, the tune-up involves removing, getting rid of grime, cleaning up this, cleaning up that, right? A variety of things that are there that get the car, the vehicle in a healthy state again. In the context of the calling of your soul, because it is about think positive, building a world where positive is the way people think and show up in that way, and it's that positivity, that vibe that spreads. That has been the calling, and you've really gone as far as creating a whole variety of tools, some that give people access to that in a click of a finger, some that really anchor it over doing a series of things over a period of time, integrating it in education systems, a whole variety, as well as actual physical products that stimulate that. What I want you the message for you is to just go in, and in you bringing this positive light into certain environments, doesn't happen everywhere, but you have been entering environments where it was challenging. People actually didn't necessarily want this. So when we go in with this light message into environments like this, it's a little bit like you have a glass of water and you drop a pebble in it and it splashes up, right? It's a little like you're dropping in a pebble of positivity in an environment that actually likes to keep negativity percolating. So it splashes up. Now, when it splashes up, some of that splash can stick. And you've been at this for decades now, at times where, energetically, the world was rich in saboteur energies. So there is some of that starts to cause cracks and fractures in your human fields. You don't need to engage with what they are. All I'm saying is just acknowledging some of those moments where there was like a sudden influx of saboteurism or certain rise of negativity when everything was going well. By just you acknowledging those times, you will actually be cleaning up your field. Okay.
Right.
That's really what I wanted to say to you. Just clean up your field, because you're meant to literally progress with the lightness of being, literally like a butterfly that can go in and out of waterfalls, in and out of splinters of fire and stuff, and still be flying in its regalia. That's what it's coming for
Right.
you. So clear this piece out by acknowledging the negative saboteur incidents. You have to do nothing about it other than acknowledge it fully and release.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
There's one other thing that I want to say to you, and it actually applies to all of us. Whatever we are experiencing, each one of us is an archetype representation of so many other humans out there. So when we do something positive for ourselves, we actually impact everyone. You know, that is an archetype match to us. And that's how we transform the world into a world that is in a state of joy, ease, grace, omnipresent. So thank you for asking. It gave me an opportunity to share this.
Thank you.
So there are a few questions here. Please share last Thursday about sugar imbalance. You answered, Tarun. There is actually one of the Beyond meditations, several of the Beyond meditations that are to do with the pancreas and deal with sugar imbalance. So maybe we can just pull out that playlist and share that with you,
Which
Asha ji.
one? Yeah.
It's in Beyond meditation. It's in the up leveling the human vibe, human form.
Okay. Okay.
There will be a collection on pancreas.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I woke up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I woke up yesterday and have laryngitis. How can I assist with its clearing? So Mary Catherine, this particular laryngitis, so let me just get you on here. If you can come online, that would be great. I can't have you spotlighted because you're not showing up. So this is not the case with everyone's laryngitis, but in your case, Mary Catherine, the laryngitis actually is a reflection of your top lung being a little bit sticky. And the top lung issue comes from not having expressed your truth over a sustained period of time. So I know that you've been working on yourself in the context of expressing your truth. So just have a look at what remains to be expressed and express it to the higher selves of the people that you're meant to express it to. And you will immediately experience a release of whatever it is that is causing the laryngitis to be at to the extent that it is at right now. So that's what I want to say about that. One other question from the floor, and then we will complete. Antonetta, I just love your smiling face. Anything you would like to share? Unmute.
I think I have. I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, 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 I can hear you.
All I can say is validation from you. I feel I've received several messages today, so always enlightening.
Thank you.
And always...
Antonetta. In this group, Antonetta is the one who knows me the longest. Antonetta saw me during the phase in my life where I wore 3-piece suits with a tie. Do you remember? And had stand-up
Yes,
meetings.
I shan't repeat what I thought of you then, but there's a big 360 change there.
Yes.
Yeah, all good, fantastic, and I really admire you, Mynoo. And
thank you, Antonetta.
Big bridges in my life. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. It is time for our Beyond meditation. So in about 8 minutes, we will begin that. You feel free to share your questions in advance. Join the Beyond meditation if you like. It will be in about 7 minutes. We have the Pearl of Wisdom that we are doing at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, and it is in the morning at 6 a.m. India time. And this Pearl of Wisdom is an interesting one. It is all about sacrifice. I was like, sacrifice? My God, how can it be a Pearl of Wisdom? that creates a world that works for everyone. And it is quite a surprising revelation about sacrifice. So if you're going to be in the Beyond Meditation, I will see you in 7 minutes. And if you would like to join the Pearl of Wisdom, please do so. I'm going to complete the meeting now. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, Mynoo, so are you going to continue or just pause the recording and?
Yeah, I will stop the recording, and I will just go off screen for about 6 minutes and then come back online.
Sure, sure.
Thank you and bye.
Thank you, Mynoo.
Bye.
Bye.